Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we're going to be working from Ashley Christensen's It's Always Freezer Season cookbook. And this is a recipe that you can make and freeze and just bake off later. It's not sort of an ingredient that you use for something else. You make this all, you bake it up, you freeze it, and you can bake it up at any time. We're going to have it today, but I'm not sure we're going to need all of them because today's the Super Bowl. And so we usually have some snacks for dinner, and that's what this is going to be, part of our dinner. But I think it's just going to be us probably, and we don't need a whole recipe. So what I'm going to do is make it up, freeze it, and bake it from frozen pretty much like you would if you were making this way, way, way ahead of time. So we are going to be making ham and Swiss cheese rolls. These are, if you've ever seen them before, they're pretty classic Hawaiian rolls with ham and cheese. And then usually you melt butter and put stuff in it like the poppy seeds and things like that. Make a compound butter, but it's melted, so it's not really buttery anymore. Anyway, and then you bake it off like that. And so you have a nice, warm, buttery sandwich. But we're not going to be melting it this time. We're going to be making a compound butter with all of those ingredients. So I have some unsalted butter that is room temperature. Room temperature is a little cool, so I'm hoping that I get to that this comes together okay. And I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. First, I'm going to add some Worcestershire sauce, however you say it. That's what that is. Got some brown sugar, light brown sugar. I have poppy seeds, quite a lot of poppy seeds. Some minced yellow onion, which I kind of measured only in relation to everything else. So hopefully it might be a bit much, but we like onion and that's okay. And it's going everywhere. And the last thing is some Dijon mustard. It was pretty much the same amount of all of those ingredients. So there's no salt in this besides what's already in the Worcestershire and the mustard. But now I'm supposed to combine this into a compound butter, which I think would be so much easier with a mixer, but she doesn't say to use a mixer. And so I'm going to be here trying to make this all work. I'm getting the mixer. Worcestershire sauce kind of separates out, so I'm not going to mix it anymore. We're just going to set that aside and get ready to make our sandwiches. This makes 12 slider size sandwiches. So I have my pack of Hawaiian rolls. She says Hawaiian slider rolls. They're just regular Hawaiian rolls. Slider rolls usually come pre-sliced, which these are not. And we're going to separate these and slice them in half like a bun. And I have, since I'm going to put this in the freezer, I have wax paper on my baking sheet. That's just going to go in the freezer. If you're going to bake them from here, don't use wax paper, use parchment. When you're freezing them, you do want some space in between them, so they will be individually frozen, which makes you able to bake up as many as you like. Now, I'm not going to measure the mayonnaise that I put on here, although there is a measurement for the total amount used. I'm just going to put mayo on the bottoms. So we're going to spread just the bottoms, I believe, with some mayo. Okay, so we're done with the mayo. And I've got some thinly sliced deli ham. I went with I think it was a Black Forest ham. Get what you like. Just what looks good to me right now. And we're going to about half a slice each. We're trying to not have any overlap or not much overlap with the edges. Try to make it fit onto the bun as well as you can. Good enough for me. So that's all the ham. And the next thing is I'm going to divide this cheese. This is grated Swiss cheese. That's what she asked for. Sometimes slices are easier, I find, but she says shredded, and I just bought some pre-shredded because this recipe does not have to be fancy. You can fancy it up some if you want, but it does not have to be fancy. So, shredded cheese likes to fall off of these things, so that's super fun. So we're going to cover them with our tops. Make sure they get spaced. I am very annoyed at that cheese. I would have gone with slices. I really should have gone with slices. I knew this was going to happen, but we follow the recipe at least the first time. Try to divide this relatively evenly and spread it on top of the buns. The Worcestershire sauce seems to still be wanting to separate, maybe some of the mustard as well, but there's kind of a liquidiness to it. It may come together better if it's warm, you know, if your room is warmer, but that is the best we can do today. And in the end, it's all going to melt. I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to put this in the freezer. And she says they need like 4 hours for a formative freeze at least. If I were going to wrap them up, I would probably let them go overnight at least. But we'll be back to bake these up in a few hours when we're ready to eat. So these have been in the freezer for about 4 hours. I'm going to put 6 of them in here, spread apart. She says to use a rimmed baking sheet. This is the wrong thing. This is not the right cookbook, but whatever. It's fine. She says to use a rimmed baking sheet. I'm just going to put it in this baking dish that has quite a bit of side, because I think that butter is going to melt and potentially go all over if you don't have enough of a rim, and this will be absolutely fine. So I'm just going to take some of these out. We're not going to eat all of these today, but I'm going to try to give them some room. She says, when I've done it before, I've baked them sort of all together, but that's okay. This is what we're going to do because this is what she says to do. And so I'm going to bake half of these. That's a lot of extra cheese, whatever. She doesn't say to do that, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to let these freeze, the rest of them freeze sort of overnight in the freezer. And then she says to put them in a plastic or glass container, lidded container in the freezer. I think I'm going to wrap them up individually in wax paper first, but we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. But these are going to go in the oven, since they're frozen, at 350 for about 20 minutes until they are all melty and hot. Basically, when you want to eat them, they're done. When they're all melty, because everything in there is cooked. So basically cook them until you want to eat them. So 20 minutes and we'll show you what they look like. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make ham and Swiss cheese rolls from Ashley Christensen's It's Always Freezer Season. And this was something that you just sort of put together and freeze as it is so you can later bake it up and have it whenever you want. We really loved these. Everybody enjoyed them. The only thing that I would do differently as far as the recipe is I would get sliced Swiss cheese, because I don't think the grated was the easiest thing. Just get the sliced. It's much easier, and we had a lot that fell off and wouldn't stay on, so just buy the sliced Swiss cheese. Also, I think we should make way more of these. Make like a double batch to freeze and have them whenever, because so I baked up half of them the night that we made them, and that was, I don't know, my family still wanted more, but we had other things. It was fine. But so we still have half of them in the freezer. I haven't tried those yet, but they're supposed to be, let's see, you're supposed to freeze them for only up to a month. So we'll have them again soon for a snack or something. I thought the compound butter was a little bit on the sweet side, but that kind of goes with the sweet rolls. Everybody else did not care one little bit and just wanted more. So it's nice to know we've made similar things before. I'm not sure about the exact sort of butter mixture that went on those, but yeah, we really enjoyed them. We will definitely make these again, and I hope you do too. If you haven't ever had these, you really need to make these. They are great party foods, although you do get very buttery hands, so have napkins. If you enjoyed watching me make this, please give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and if you decide to make it, please let me know in the comments down below what you think, and come back and watch me make something else next week.